Welcome to this video of aspireforgmat.com. Before attempting this question, please take the practice test at www.aspireforgmat.com and then verify your answers against this video, which will be available after you answer the question at our site. The link for the free Aspire for GMAT course is also available in the description box below. Just register on the site and enroll for the course. There are many such tests available. If you have any doubts or queries that you would like us to clarify, post in the GMAT forum and we will answer your questions. Our instructors can also solve these problems in a video which will be available at our site for your benefit. The next problem we are going to deal with is a fairly simple one. This question asks us whether x is less than 0. Now they've given two statements, both of them give some information about x with reference to 0. The important part to note over here is the concepts that you would need to know is just number properties. You would need to know how numbers behave, how positive and negative numbers behave, and how inequalities behave when negative numbers and positive numbers are used. That is what is being, those are the two concepts that are being tested in this question. So let's look at how we are going to solve this question. Now, how do we solve this particular question? The first thing we are informed is x is less than 0. So we need to find out whether x is less than 0. The first statement tells us minus 2x is greater than 0, and the second statement tells us x cube is less than 0. Now let's first of all work out with x cube how that works. Now x cube is less than 0. We know that any integer or any value, when it is taken to the cube, any odd power, it will be this, it will retain the same sign as the original sign of the value. For example, if I take 1 cube, since 1 is positive, 1 cube will be positive. If I take 2 cube, since 2 is positive, 2 cube will also be positive. However, if I take minus 1 cube, it will be negative. If I take minus 5 cube, it will still be negative, because any negative integer taken to an odd power will retain the negative nature, and any integer when taken, any integer or any number when taken to the taken to an even power will become positive. However, when taken to an odd power, it will retain its original sign. Now of course the number would change, but it will retain its original sign. So now since x cube is less than 0, x must also be less than 0, right? Now what is the question? Whether x is less than 0. So this is sufficient, it proves it, right? So now we have three options, we have 5 options, A, B, C, D, E. Since B is enough, we know that A is wrong. A says that B is not sufficient. I mean, second option is not sufficient, so that is definitely wrong. C says that only A and B together, that is 1 and 2 together, are sufficient. That is wrong. D says that 1 and 2 could be individually sufficient. That is possible. And E says that together they are not sufficient. That is also wrong. So one of the options, that is B and D, must be the right answer now. Now this one tells us minus 2x is greater than 0. When working with inequalities, also remember that inequalities, when multiplied, when you multiply or divide both the sides of an inequality by the same by a negative value, the inequality reverses. For example, if I have an inequality x is greater than y, and I multiply both sides by a negative value, that is minus x, I multiply minus 1 into x and minus 1 into y. So minus x and minus y are the values I would get. The inequality would reverse its sign, that is minus x would become less than minus y. Going by the same idea, minus 2x is greater than 0, but we need to find a relationship between x and 0. So let's multiply both, divide both sides by minus 2. In that case, it would be by minus 2 greater than 0 by minus 2. Now since I have divided by minus 2, this inequality will reverse its sign, and it would be x minus 2 by minus 2 becomes x is less than 0 by minus 2 is still 0. So x is less than 0. Now this is also sufficient. Now the option B here states that A first is the only, 2 is the only sufficient statement 1 is not sufficient in itself, so it must be wrong, and the right answer is